What's happening? What's happening? This is Marcus Miller. I'm hanging out here with Mr. Shawn Stockman. On that note,
welcome everyone to another episode of On That Note. I am your humble host, Shawn Stockman. And as you guys know, this is the place where we speak a language we all understand, and that is music. My guest today is responsible for iconic grooves I bet my life you've danced to at least 5 of them. At least 5. He's got way more, but at least 5 of them in a club, a cookout, a wedding, an arena, or a stadium somewhere in the world. This Jamaica Queens native, regarded as one of the greatest electric basses of all time. His work reshaped modern jazz, funk, and R&B, and his impact as a composer, producer, and performer has influenced generations of musicians. Throughout his career, he's worked with legendary artists, including, but not limited to, Luther Vandross, David Sanborn, Aretha Franklin, Chaka Khan, Eric Clapton, George Benson, Michael Jackson, Miles Davis, Elton John, Beyonce, and so many more. I could have kept going, but we don't have the time. So we're just going to keep it short as possible, respectfully, of course. He became known not just as a bassist, but also as a producer, arranger, and songwriter with a distinctive sound. Even after decades of creating classics, he continues to record, tour, and collaborate. He's led his own bands, performed at major jazz festivals around the world, and served as a cultural ambassador for UNESCO. I just want to pronounce that right. UNESCO. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into that as far as like what that is. Mm-hmm. Using music as a bridge across cultures. Ladies and gentlemen, please, it is my honor. It is my distinct honor. Please give it up for one of the greatest bass players in history, Mr. William Henry Marcus Miller Jr.,
Whoa.
a.k.a. Marcus Miller.
Oh, wow. All right.
You have to
names.
Give the full government
It took
name.
me till I was 10 years old to be able to remember my whole name.
It's a long name.
Because my dad, that's his name, Senior.
Okay.
William Henry Marcus Miller, Senior.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want to call me Junior, you know, when you have the same name as your dad.
Sure.
So they called me Marcus.
Yeah.
And so I just thought my name was Marcus Miller, and then they added all these other names. So I said, they said, what's your name? I said, Marcus Miller Henry Jr., something like that.
Something like this. You put it together.
Yeah,
you
put it together. Exactly.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Thank you so very, very much.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
It's my honor to have you here.
Nice setup, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a cool studio, very vibey.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool clothing and things of that nature. You know, maybe we'll look at some clothes after the podcast.
Come on now.
But so what's been going on with you, man?
Let's see. Right now, at this very moment, we do Reginald Hudlin. Do you know that name?
Of course I do.
Reggie Hudlin and we do a project called Black Movie Soundtrack at the Hollywood Bowl. Mm-hmm. We do it every couple of years, and it's big, like, 12,000 people.
Shout out to the homie
Reggie Hudlin. Mm-hmm. And we have the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra. Mm-hmm. We have an all-star rhythm section. Mm-hmm. We have clips of famous Black movies from Sidney Poitier all the way up to like Sinners. Like
some of which you compose, which we're going to get into later.
Yeah, some of which I composed. Mm-hmm. And then we have guest artists come and perform songs from movies. So we've had Gladys Knight from back in the day. Mm-hmm. We've had Snoop. Mm-hmm. We had Jennifer Holliday, who just destroyed it last year. Yeah. Who else? Earth, Wind, and Fire. We've had everybody on there. And they get to sing music specifically from movies. And it's a beautiful event. So we're working on that for next month.
Reggie has been trying to get me and the guys to do it.
Hello.
For a while.
We call y'all every year.
Yeah, I know. And every year we're doing something. Yeah. So, and he's called me personally. So Reggie, it's nothing personal. Trust me, bro.
Oh, we know because it's like that for all the big artists.
Yeah.
Because we do it in August, September. That's like prime time.
Yes.
For touring and all that. And we don't want to interrupt any of that.
Right.
So we understand, but we keep on you. So,
yeah, no, for sure. Oh, we're going to do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds amazing. Well, congratulations on that. And again, shout out to Reginald Hudlin and an amazing and iconic director and screenplay writer and all of that. So, okay, this is how I like to start every show. It's a little segment I call "We're Gonna Go Back, Way Back, Back in the Time."
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're gonna go, Marcus, when you were 10 years old. That's 69, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. Paint the picture. I believe around this time you were born in Brooklyn, but
Mm-hmm.
you went to Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
Around 10 when you were 10 years old.
Right.
So you're in Jamaica, Queens.
So 69, I had just moved to Jamaica, Queens.
Okay.
From Brooklyn. Born in Bed-Stuy, and we lived in an area called Sheepshead Bay for about 8 years. And then at 10 years old, now I'm in Jamaica, Queens.
Okay.
And I had started to play the clarinet because in New York City, they offered music lessons and they gave us 3 choices. It was the trumpet, the drums, or the clarinet. So all of us wanted to play the drums.
Right.
But we lived in an apartment building
Oh, it's a little difficult.
in Jamaica, Queens, and my father wasn't trying to hear the drums
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
And I'd already started on a little wooden instrument that they had given us a couple of years earlier called a recorder.
The recorder.
Right.
Yes.
So he said, "You're already playing something, a woodwind instrument." So I was like, all right. I wasn't in love with the clarinet, but my father was a musician, piano player. He played like all local musicians do, like what I believe is like the true function of musicians, which is to unite your community.
Yes.
Right. So he played at weddings, funerals, church services, of course, anywhere where people got together.
Sure.
His job was to play music, play hymns that people could sing along to, or play whatever it is that made everybody feel like a community.
What was being played in your house around that time?
So in my house,
what were you influenced by?
If my mom was commandeering the stereo, then I'm listening to Ray Charles, Chubby Checker, stuff like that. If Dad was on it, then it wasn't the stereo because he was playing the piano. And I'm hearing Beethoven and Bach.
How about that?
And Brahms and Rachmaninoff and all that stuff. And it was as an apartment.
Yeah.
So you really hear what your parents are listening to.
Beautiful.
But 69, you're starting to have your own little kind of musical experiences. And in 1969, I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 came out. And we were all crazy about this because these kids are our age.
Yes.
And more importantly, or just as importantly, these kids look like us.
Yes.
And in 69, that wasn't a usual thing.
Yeah, sure wasn't.
Wait, man, look at these little black kids, man. There's 5 of them. And they're professional musicians already?
Yeah.
And so I and everybody else, we lost our minds over the Jackson 5, Michael and his brothers.
Yeah.
And so I'm playing the clarinet, but I'm getting into soul music because the cool thing about the Jackson 5, what Motown would do is they come up with 2 or 3 hits for the album.
Sure.
And then the rest of the album would be Motown cover songs.
Yes.
Songs by the Temptations.
Yes.
Songs by Smokey Robinson.
Yes.
The whole Motown catalog.
Mm-hmm.
So through the Jackson 5 records, I got exposed to all of the history of the music that had come just before me.
Yeah.
Because Motown was like 60s,
That's right.
This is 69, so they're kind of transitioning.
Yeah.
But the Temptations, so I got into all that soul music. I was into soul music. Clarinet wasn't quite working.
The soul music. Yeah, a little harder to pull
I was
some
listening
soul out
for
of a
one.
clarinet.
There was one little clarinet that stuck out on one record, but otherwise it wasn't there. So anyway, I started playing the saxophone because by this time I'm in middle school.
Okay.
And my music teacher, Mr. Guarino, was just fantastic. He said, "You play clarinet, I need you to play saxophone." He didn't ask me nothing. He just told me,
"This is what you're doing.
You can play saxophone also." So I was playing tenor, and that got me closer to soul music. But most of the time, the bands that I saw playing soul and funk music, the saxophone players were doing steps.
Right.
And going da-da-da-da.
Right. That's right.
Right?
They look cool.
Yeah, it looked cool, but I'm like, but the bass seemed like it was right in the center of the music.
I was going to ask you that because you started playing bass at 13. And my question was going to be like, why bass?
Yeah. So, okay, 1971, 72, theme from Shaft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, boom. Cool in the Gang. This was Cool in the Gang, the funk version of Cool in the Gang.
Yeah.
So we're talking
Summer
about
Madness,
Jungle Boogie, funky stuff.
Yeah.
Right. There was a band called Mandrill.
Yep.
Who
Mandrill.
They're not as popular now, but exactly. Exactly, banjo, and the bass.
Yeah.
Like listen to a record from the late 60s and 70s. Listen to the drums, right? They sound like a drum kit.
Yeah,
right.
Very
They don't
tucked.
Yeah, there's two mics up above the drummer,
Mm-hmm.
so you hear like the snare drum and the stuff, but the bass is carrying the whole bottom of the record.
Sure.
So as a young listener, I was going, man, that bass is the key to this music.
Yeah.
And so when I finally, my friend who lived in the same building as he got a bass for Christmas. And I played those first couple of notes. I said, this is what I'm talking about. His mom was so sick of me showing up over his house, play the bass. I finally convinced my mom and dad to get me one.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into it. And I was just voracious. I ate up I didn't care what style of music it was. I had to learn the bass to it.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, there was no YouTube.
Right.
There's no visual instruction.
Yeah.
It all was
ears.
with your ear. So I would sit there, and you probably do this too, with a but I had a vinyl, and I go,
yep.
I had my bass in.
Yeah, you gotta
that.
you gotta be nice with the needle.
I was nice. I could find the part.
Yeah.
And then I discovered 16 RPM. Right? Because most of the albums were 33 and a third RPMs. That's how fast it turned.
Yes.
16 turned half as fast.
Yes.
And I could go, oh man, I could slow it down a little bit. You know, especially when I was getting into jazz and trying to figure out all that crazy stuff the guys were doing. So anyway, I ended up going to, well, you said 10 years old. So about three years later, I went to the High School of Music and Art, which was part of that Fame school from the movie Fame.
Sure.
There's two campuses, one for musicians and dancers. That's the one that was in the movie. There's one uptown in Manhattan called Music and Art, which was for musicians and artists.
I see.
Right. And so I went to that one because my dad went there. Also, my dad had a cousin who was a great jazz pianist named Wynton Kelly. And Wynton Kelly played with Miles. He played with Wes Montgomery. Wow. And he went to Music and Art also. So there was no decision for me. Like my father, oh yeah, you're going to music.
That's
and
it.
You know,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you started playing bass at 13, but if I'm correct, you started doing session work at 14.
No, my first session was 16.
Okay, 16. Yeah. So I was off a couple of years, but still, that's still very young for you to, to be
you
doing like.
It didn't seem like that at the time. You know, the 3 years between 13 and 16 versus the 3 years between 41 and 44 are completely
different. Yes,
in terms of your development, not just as a musician, but as a human being.
Yeah,
you know, you're soaking up. You're still soaking up. You know? So man, I was into it, man.
Wow.
I mean, I come from a musical family, so I was very fortunate because, you know, I was always playing the piano, just emulating my dad. And I said, Dad, I'm buying Stevie Wonder's songbook, and it's a book of sheet music, and I'm reading it. You know, reading every note. And even when I get it together, the arrangement sounds whack, Dad. He goes, don't mess with the arrangement. There's chord symbols on top of the music that are meant for guitar, right? It says C minor 7. And he showed me all the harmony, right? He said, and it takes a minute for you to learn that, but like not at 13. You just like digest it.
Sponge, yeah.
So he showed me all my harmony, right? So I had the advantage of, even though I was playing the bass, I played the piano, I'm still playing the horn, you know? And so it was just, my whole world was music. So those 3 years were packed.
That's such an amazing just breeding ground as a musician, as a budding musician, to first off have your father be your mentor. That's waking up every morning just doing what you love. And
it wasn't like he was saying, here, son, you're very talented. Let me. No, it was like, take out the trash.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, you're still messing those chord changes up.
Yeah.
You know, so it was more like, this is life. But then I'd go outside of the house. We had a singing group, you know, and I realized I'm the one who can tell everybody the notes to sing. Right. So the stuff that my father made me learn, all of a sudden I'm realizing, oh, this can come in handy. This is some valuable information. So it reinforce what he was showing me.
Shout out to Papa Miller.
Oh, come on now.
for breeding such an amazing musician that we all appreciate to this day. Now, okay, now you're doing sessions. I'm assuming you're playing gigs locally around the area. What was the scene like for young musicians like yourself?
In Jamaica, Queens, in the 70s, every block had a band, right? Every block had a band. The way you distinguish yourself in that culture, in that environment, was either you were an athlete or you were a musician and you were in a band. That's how you got recognition. Every block had a band. We had a band, and we would go to the other block and stand outside the basement of the competitive band and listen to what songs they knew.
Sure.
Because there was going to be a talent show.
Sure, that's right.
At the high school, and we had to make sure
had to know
that we knew how to play, Skin Tight.
Right.
By the Ohio Players.
That's right.
Or Fire by the
Ohio Players. That's right.
Yeah, we had to, oh man, they know how to play blah, blah, blah. Let's go back to our basement and learn it. So it was we're young boys.
Yeah.
So it's competitive, because it was almost like a sport.
Yeah.
But it was creative too, because you had to you had to learn stuff, and I realized, even though I was the youngest guy in the band, I realized I was the one who could tell the guitar player what to play. I could listen to the record and tell the guitar player or tell the drummer, it's not quite the right beat.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that I was developing skills as an arranger and a producer even then. Yeah.
That's right. Well, being as young as you are and connecting to all of those elements, basic elements of what makes a great producer and arranger and songwriter, you did all these things. When did the journey to jazz come into play? Because there's a lot of funk that you mentioned.
Yeah, I was a soul funk bassist. Went to the High School of Music and Art. There were two drummers who kind of really are the foundation of my professional career. One was Omar Hakim. Omar Hakim is a drummer who went on to play with Weather Report, David Bowie, Chic, and he was a contemporary drummer. Whatever was new, Herbie Hancock, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Omar was on that. Kenny Washington was another classmate of mine. He's a drummer, and he was a traditionalist. He loved jazz. His father was a jazz maniac. He's a jazz maniac. Matter of fact, I think that's his screen name even today. But he heard me in high school jamming, and he said, "You're good, but you need to learn how to play jazz." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because all the great musicians play jazz." It's a very simplistic thing.
Yeah.
But when you're 13, 14 years old, that's what you need to hear. Okay, well then I'll learn jazz.
Yeah.
And he had me come out to his house every weekend because his father had a jazz workshop. It took me a long time to get to his house because he lived in Staten Island, which was about as far away from Jamaica, Queens, and still stay in New York as you could get. But anyway, I did that, and I said, my cousin, Wynton Kelly, my father's cousin, he plays jazz. And Kenny, are you kidding me? Do you know anything about your cousin? He started pulling all these records off the shelf and playing me. And the first day I went to his house, he played me the whole history of jazz. He played me Louis Armstrong, and he went all the way through. He went through big band. He played Charlie Parker, bebop. He played Freddie Hubbard, Lee Morgan. He played Miles, of course.
Yeah.
He played everything all the way up to Chick Corea Fusion, which was where we were at that moment. And he put everything that he played me on a cassette. And
awesome.
And I went out there every weekend. He became a dear friend, still is.
Yeah.
And between Kenny and Omar, these are the guys, because Omar introduced me to all the contemporary guys, in Jamaica, Queens, who I didn't know.
Yeah.
In other words, in Jamaica, Queens, I knew the guys right around the 5-block radius.
Right.
But I didn't realize in Jamaica, Queens, of the bigger area, there was some incredible musicians.
Yeah.
Omar introduced me to Bernard Wright, who became like my little brother.
Right.
Omar himself, Donald Blackman, who has a funk record called Blackman that everybody needs to have if you can find it.
Yeah, I'm going to look for that.
Tremendous musicians. Tom Brown, the trumpet player who had the record Jamaica Funk.
Yeah.
So I became part of that crew, and they love jazz and funk too.
Yeah.
We're in New York. I think that had a lot to do with it, being in New York.
Now, the correlation between, because ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get real geeky on this episode, okay? We're going to really talk about just the nuances of genres and everything, at least for me anyway, because I'm still very much a student of music and always trying to learn, and you guys are going to learn with me. The correlation between funk and jazz, how close is it? And was it hard for you to find your space from a jazz, learning jazz, coming from a person that was into funk and all those other things? Like, what are the learning curves you had to get through?
Well, the first record that I heard that they told me was jazz was Herbie Hancock's Chameleon.
Okay.
Pretty easy, because that's about as funky as you can get.
Right.
But Herbie was playing jazz on top of this funk beat, this funk bass line. But that drew me in.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, this is jazz? And I remember us sitting in somebody's basement listening to that and just bugging on how adventurous it sounded, but how funky it was.
Yeah.
So I said, man, let me check out this guy, Herbie Hancock. So I started going backwards. And just 4 or 5 years before, he was like totally into jazz. Right?
Yeah.
And so between Kenny Washington telling me about these guys and then me going like down the rabbit hole of jazz, and then I started realizing this is the stuff that my aunts and uncles all dance to, you know? This is the stuff that my uncle listens to when he's drinking his bourbon,
right?
You know, chilling like you were talking about with his me time.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I learn how to hear this, I can realize, I realized that this was a music that people groove to too.
Yeah.
Rock and roll changed everything, you know, because everybody was dancing to jazz, you know.
Yeah.
Your parents, your grandparents,
sure,
when they went out to the club, they went out to dance to jazz.
Yes.
Big band jazz, Duke Ellington, Count Basie. Yeah. That was how you went to the club.
Yeah, that's it.
But then people like Chuck Berry and Little Richard, they said, we're going to take that beat. We're going to roll over Beethoven. They just changed the beat a little bit.
Right.
It was still had a connection to jazz, but then over the years, then James Brown came in the 70s, and James Brown said, look, I need y'all to simplify that. I need
right.
And the jazz musicians were like split in half.
Yeah.
Half of them wanted to stay with the traditional beat. And also James Brown and them, they were like, I don't want the harmony to change all over the place. Okay.
Yeah.
Stay on one chord.
Yeah.
Don't change. The big change is when James Brown said, we're taking it to the bridge.
Right.
Take it to the bridge. That's the first change you hear.
Right. It's normally a 4.
They go to the other chord, then they come back. A lot of jazz musicians who had come up before James said, man, I like when the chords move around. And when I'm improvising, I can find beautiful things to play around these chords moving around. So it'd be like, boom, 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 boom,
right,
boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? It was like harmony. You had to learn harmony. You had to sit down at the piano like my dad showed me and learn. Even Stevie Wonder stuff later on had real beautiful harmony. Yeah.
Real heavy. Like I mean, we love Stevie for who he is, and he's made some of the greatest songs and written some of the greatest songs and melodies ever. But when you really get into Innovisions and Fulfilling This First Finale and all of these albums, like it's heavy. Even The Secret Life of Plants was one of my favorite albums. Like
that's Someone You Love, right?
Yeah, Someone You Love. Ooh. And Power Flower. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, I have to listen to Power. Stevie did a record all dedicated to plants. Oh, that's right. Ooh.
Like it was one of my favorite and it wasn't a single or anything like that, but it was an amazing album.
That's a sleeper album.
No, it's a sleeper album. But Stevie was real jazz heavy.
Yeah, he absorbed it all, but contemporized it, with his beats and his lyrics and all that stuff. So that's where I was. I was like, I played in big bands. I was playing bass guitar in a big band.
And you played upright, right?
No, I didn't mess with upright at the time.
Okay.
I was doing it on electric bass.
Oh, wow.
And the people would let me do it, learn how to swing authentically, right? Learned all the standards they called. There's about 75 to 100 songs that every jazz musician has to know. They're called
Giant
standards.
Steps
Yeah,
and all of
you have
that.
to learn all those. A lot of them
right.
are from Broadway, from the 50s. You know, they were songs that were big in Broadway, and then jazz musicians would jazz it up.
Sure.
Show you. So I learned all those. I was serious. I did gigs, man, with hardcore, straight ahead, we call it, straight ahead musicians playing straight ahead jazz. But then I didn't have my funk card revoked.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still playing funk.
Yeah.
And my goal was to do like some of my heroes were doing, which was combining the two.
Yes.
Like Herbie Hancock, like
Yes.
Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
That was my ultimate goal. I don't think I ever wanted to be a traditionalist. I just wanted to get all the information I could get and then move on and see what I could do with it.
Well, that's very interesting that you brought that up, because honestly, we're going to talk off camera about that stuff because I want to learn a lot about it too. And you're going to be I'm designating you as my teacher. So you worked with Miles Davis. Now, two things. First, I'm going to ask this question first, and then I'm going to get into the next part. Is it true that, and I don't know if you've heard of this before, but I guess Miles was doing a show, and there was one show where he had his back to the crowd completely, the whole show. And people were kind of offended. Like they were like, you know, this dude, I paid to see him perform and his back is to us and everything. And I think his explanation was, while he was playing his horn, he found a spot that sounded good. And he just stayed there. And it just happened to be to where his back was to the crowd. And a lot of people were upset about it. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're a singer and you know how different every venue that you 100%. Sing is. And you know that sometimes it's really difficult to hear yourself.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, there's a lot of different reasons. He wasn't as, he was way more shy than people realize. That was the other thing. Another thing is that if you go to hear a classical concert, who's the conductor looking at?
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody ever complains about that.
That's true. Know? That is true.
Because a lot of times he wasn't playing, he was conducting the band, right? And then when he's playing, he says, like, I'm not just going to turn around just because I got to play. He just started playing. And so that played into it too.
That makes sense.
Because when I was in the band, he would go, which meant stop. And whoever was soloing would just be soloing with no band. And then you go, boom. And then we start again. I don't know why that means stop and that means go, but that's what it it was.
Right.
Anyway, so there's a lot of different reasons, but somebody said to me years ago, I told him I was playing with Miles. He said, man, I don't have any respect for that guy. I said, why not? He said, I went to see him in 73 and he had his back to us the whole time. And he said, then I went to see him in 75 and he did the same thing. I said, so you felt disrespected in 73, and then you paid good money to go see him again.
To get disrespected again?
Yeah. Who are you? What are you telling Mr. Davis?
Right.
What are you saying to him?
And what does that say about yourself, sir?
Yeah. What does that?
You might need to seek therapy.
The disrespect was that good.
I mean,
right.
When I was in the band, we're playing. This was his comeback band, so he hadn't been playing for 5 years. From 75 to.
Why is that? What made him alienate himself from?
He got tired. He got there was extracurricular recreational issues going on.
I got it. Understand.
So, but he finally got it together to come back. Mm-hmm. But he would stand there while the saxophone player was soloing. He'd be facing me, talking to me. Hey man, how you like my shoes?
While the show's going on.
How you like my shoes? I was like, those are some nice shoes, man. But I'm trying to keep it together,
right. Like, Miles, please.
Yeah. So he had a whole lot of reasons, man, and a lot of it, man, comes back to 40 years before. Black musicians had to entertain. They were entertainers. And then they had white musicians who were artists. But the black musicians, there weren't that many artists. They were entertainers. They were there, had to smile for a long time, 20s, 30s. You had to smile when you played, And they were so genius that they could do it. Watch Duke Ellington or Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
They're sitting there at the piano.
Yeah.
They're playing stride piano, which is bass chord.
Yes,
Dun,
yes.
dun. They're playing some other stuff with their other hand. They're singing like this to the audience
Yep,
and smiling.
Yeah.
Try doing one of those things
Yeah.
or two of those things.
Sure.
I mean, they were geniuses, man.
Yeah.
But next generation said, you know what? I don't need to smile. Okay.
Right.
I need you to respect me as an artist.
Yes.
Okay. I need you to respect that what I'm doing is not simply entertainment.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody comes there to be entertained.
Yeah.
But there's different levels of entertainment. So, you know, by the time we got to the 60s, you saw them, Miles' group in the 60s with Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Wayne Shorter, Tony Williams.
Wayne Shorter.
They're not.
Wayne Shorter.
They're not smiling.
Yeah.
Like we're serious musicians, and we're on to finding some new stuff, some important stuff that y'all need to hear. So that whole dynamic, right, has been evolving since the turn of the century.
Sure.
And so when I came on the scene, it was fusion, right? And what we were doing was, because of our forefathers, because of the musicians from the 60s, we felt like we could wear whatever we want.
Yes.
Right? Thank you, Ron Carter.
Right.
For creating the appreciation of us as artists.
Yeah.
For breaking down that wall. But we don't want to be locked into that either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, the white musicians are wearing whatever the heck they want, especially in fusion and rock, you know?
Yeah.
So we started like kind of trying to find our own thing. And the whole point is to get to the point where you can wear what you want and still be respected.
It's so funny because me and the guys, sometimes we joke because we're in, for the most part, R&B, pop music. So there's still some traditional elements that we have to follow being a group, and being a group from the era that we came from.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go on stage, we wear the same colors, maybe not the same outfit, but we wear the same colors and the whole thing, because that's kind of what we were known for. But we'll be backstage sometimes and we'll be like, man, I sure wish I could just be one of those rock and roll guys that wake up in the morning from a Coke binge, you know, and some like 5-girl orgy with the same clothes that he had on from the night before.
On stage with your orgy clothes.
You're on stage with your orgy clothes. You just made $1 million wearing the same damn clothes that you've been wearing for the past 3 days, man. That freedom of being able to do that was something that we were envious of, because we got to get outfits and we got to be suited and booted and we got to haircuts and clean. Yeah. These dudes stink. They reek of alcohol and cigarettes. They grab their guitar, they plug in half awake because they're still high. They play these chords in front of 60,000 people and get paid $3 million.
Well, here's the thing. We are at a point now where we get to decide.
Yeah, it is. That is
right?
true.
So there's a beautiful tradition of your singing group. You guys are part of a beautiful tradition that goes back to traveling gospel quartets.
Absolutely.
Right? And then all the way through the Four Tops and the Temps and all of that. You decide, right? But the other thing is how you present yourself initially is going to lock you in.
100%.
I'll give you a basketball analogy. Michael Jordan came into the league, clean cut, well-spoken.
Yep, well-spoken. Yeah.
Suits, right? So if Michael did anything kind of crazy, people was on him.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Iverson came into the league, braids, cornrows, wearing what he wanted to wear. There wasn't no suits involved. Right? But he came in the door that way.
Yes.
So, and he's so talented. If you embrace him, if you accept him, then you got to accept who he is.
That's right.
So y'all locked yourselves in.
That's true.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing and people appreciated it.
And it's a great tradition. Like I love it and I enjoy it. And me and the guys, we're tongue in cheek when it comes to that, because we wouldn't want it any other way when it comes to the tradition of Boys to Men. But just like you mentioned, sometimes you don't want to be locked in.
Right.
And my second question with Miles, for example, was, again, I have a lot of friends who are jazz freaks and Miles stans, like just big fans. And a lot of people were upset with Miles because one of my friends told me that Miles changed jazz 3 times.
Mm-hmm. At least.
Yeah, at least. And the third time was when a lot of people were kind of upset with him because he didn't do the traditional jazz thing. So the jazz fusion thing was something that kind of was a little provocative and it kind of ostracized him to some degree with a lot of jazz traditionalists. And come to find out that you were partly responsible for that because you produced Tutu with him and I don't want to mispronounce Amanla, thank you. And you produced these 2 records when he was in that transitional phase where a lot of people were still like, man, you know, Miles is on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like he playing some mess to the, you know, that whole thing. And so did you hear those same things or?
A little bit. Here's the thing. Boys to Men. The people who met their wife while End of the Road was playing, the people who your song was their wedding song, okay? That music and what y'all do is part of their life, the most beautiful part of their life. When they met the person they love or whatever beautiful happened when they were in college. And that music is so important. If y'all come on stage, okay, 10 years later, and y'all are wearing some crazy clothes and y'all are singing some different music because you're musicians, creative musicians, you want to continue to evolve.
Sure.
What are those people going to feel? They're going to feel abandoned.
Yeah.
They're going to feel like, oh man, I came to see y'all, man, and y'all, I just want to hear End of the Road.
Right.
Right? Same thing happened with Miles. The music that he created in the 50s was incredible.
Yeah.
The music he created in the 60s was incredible.
Yeah.
Right? He already changed. He went from the cool jazz to, they call it modal jazz. I mean, these names are something that critics make up, but he went from a band with John Coltrane and Cannonball Adderley and Philly Joe Jones to a band with Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Tony Williams, and Wayne Shorter. Okay, that was a big change.
Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of people stepped off. A lot of black people stepped off.
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
Now, Miles has a girlfriend, you know, Betty Davis became his wife, right?
Yeah.
And she's got a fro, she's got boots, like the knee-high boots.
Times changed.
Miles, they're still wearing Italian suits. He's like, I want to get with this, right? Man, those people felt so abandoned when Miles plugged his trumpet into a wah-wah pedal, right? And they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
The musicians didn't understand it because, again, like James Brown, there's no more interesting chord changes.
Yeah.
It's just,
it's a lock-in. It's a 4-bar
And Miles
lock-in.
had all this African influence in his music in the 70s.
Yes.
It's like, and if you ever want to see somebody explain it exquisitely, Mtume. Okay, look it up. Mtume, M-T-U-M-E.
Yeah. We know. Yeah.
Everybody knows Mtume.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was having a conversation / debate with a guy named Stanley Crouch. Stanley was a traditionalist. Stanley was very instrumental in Wynton Marsalis's emergence, right? Where they're playing, going back to the classics, right? And Stanley said, man, this music that y'all were playing in the 70s is bull, man. And Tume had a video of their concert. And he said, he broke it down rhythmically. We're going from this African rhythm. When you hear Miles go play those little 3 notes, boom, we switch on a dime. It was incredible to watch. Whether you liked it or not, you had to respect it, you know?
Yeah.
Miles, people said, man, you changed, man. I can't stand that you changed. To me, he never changed.
Yeah.
Because bebop was crazy music.
Right.
When he was 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Before that, you're going That's what swing music was before.
Right.
Now it's bebop, and people are like, man, I can't dance to that.
Right.
So they've been dealing with that.
Yeah.
Every 10 years.
Yeah.
For their entire careers.
It's hard to be an artist because what people don't understand is that people like to encapsulate artists. They like to, just like you said, with us, End of the Road and I'll Make Love to You and songs like that is part of their tradition.
Yeah.
So we become interwoven in their traditions.
Exactly.
But we're human and we change just like everybody else. It'd be weird if I was still walking around wearing cross colors.
Right.
in 2025.
Shout out to my guy Carl, founder of Cross Colors.
And I loved Cross Colors, but my point is, it was the bomb. But times changed, and it would just look really strange, me walking around being what people expect me of being, and being criticized for that too. Because that's the funny thing, and I said this on stage like a few weeks ago, where people say, "Man, I sure wish they change," right? And then we change. Man, I sure wish they stayed the same. So it's real. So you come to I think a point in your career where you just do what feels the most organic.
Yes.
And when you do that I believe anyway, eventually, it may take time, but it shines through, and people start to get with the program, because it's like, okay, cool. He's not this guy anymore. I'm not saying I'll never sing End of the Road anymore, but this is where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I'm not 23 anymore. I'm 53.
Right.
So it's like my life's experiences and perspectives and musicality has grown. It's evolved. So I just want to share that with people. If you're really a fan of my music, then you would understand that. Stevie Wonder changed practically with every album. But I don't know, maybe because he was blind or whatever, but people accepted that with him. Because Talking Book is not music in my mind. Like they're two different albums, completely.
You feel like you were typecasted, so to speak?
Yeah.
Like a movie star who has one big film, and then now that's all they want 100%. You to do.
100%. Like they like what they like. And just like Marcus mentioned, it's like and that's fine. That is a part of me. The End of the Road is a part of my journey in life that I would love to take everybody down that memory lane, which is one of the reasons why I say at our show, you just saw it, that I want everybody to come back to the corner of your mind and think of the first time you heard this song. Cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
we're all on the playground.
Yeah, we're all going down memory lane.
But here's the thing. Let's say you make 3 albums, right? One in 1990, one in 93, one in 96. The hits that you had on 93, they become more profound. Even if they're all equally dope.
Yeah.
Right? The one that you did first has had the benefit of time.
Yeah.
Right? It's been a part of people's lives. It's been in movies. It's been in TV commercials. Right? They're all equally dope. Right? So you're always going to be trying to compete with your success. Now, I know some artists, they have no problem. I will sing my hit till they put me in the grave. Right. Because, you know, where I came from, the fact that I even have this opportunity, this kind of success, I'm never letting this go. I'll give the people what they want.
And we feel the same way.
Right.
Like we'll never stop singing the songs that people know us for. I think that's silly.
Right.
And we love them.
You find your balance.
Yeah.
You know?
But there is a balance. And I think that's the hardest part, being an artist, somewhat pleading to the crowd, like, listen, I've changed. Like, I'm not this guy anymore. Like, you know, I'm not a teenager anymore. I've grown. I've heard this particular album that changed my perspective on things. Like, it's almost like when the Beatles flipped from the Suits to the Funkadelic.
Sgt. Pepper,
Sgt. Pepper. Like, a lot of people.
What did Prince do right after Purple Rain?
Yeah.
Which was massive.
Yeah.
He didn't wait.
Yeah.
He didn't let years go by. He came out with Around the World in a Day.
Yeah, Raspberry Beret.
Right away. Look, I'm not going to be anchored to Purple Rain for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm gonna change the flavor right away.
And people were mad at him for that too, because they felt like that album was too happy.
Yeah. But in the long term, it served him well.
Yeah.
Right? In the long term, people say, okay, well, you know, but don't get it twisted. At the end of the show, you're gonna hear Purple Rain.
Yeah.
But he ended up having an incredible career because he decided not to just stay right in there. He could have done Purple Rain Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, and then you're doing yourself a disservice by keeping that man or Miles or people like him in a box. You know how much more they have to contribute musically? Like you don't want to do that to guys like that. They're geniuses.
Right.
And speaking of soundtracks, you've actually composed a few. One in which I was a part of indirectly, which was Boomerang.
That's right.
That was such a good film.
Yeah. Well, he composed the music to that movie.
Yeah. Reginald Hudlin.
Director. Now, Reggie and Eddie, obviously were integral parts of creating that film and making it what it is, which was a classic. Did Reggie come to you with any notes or appointments as far as like how he wanted the actual music to sound?
Well, the first movie I done for Reggie was the one before, which was House Party. Right? House Party with Kid and Play. And we spent a lot of time because as a composer, a film score composer, you got to learn what the director, what his references are, what he likes, what he doesn't like. So we had gone through that process already with House Party.
Okay.
So now we're doing Boomerang. And at the time, a lot of movies, there weren't like beats in the score because, the traditional film people felt like having rhythm going on would detract from what the people were saying, what the actors were saying.
Yes.
But now, we're talking about a movie with an all-black cast and probably a majority black audience who were so used to hearing dialogue with beats.
Yes.
That I decided that this isn't, taboo anymore.
Yeah.
So when Eartha Kitt is trying to seduce Eddie's character,
right.
I'm like, boom, 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 Marcus, darling. And Reggie was like, "Oh, come on now."
Right.
So now you hear a lot more. Of course, now you hear a lot more beats in films. Yeah. But at that time, it wasn't so usual. And so Reggie, he was like, "I'm gonna have Grace Jones come in on a was she on an elephant?
Yeah, it was a helicopter, and then it was these men that was carting her.
Yeah,
through.
She came in with guys.
Yeah.
And Reggie said, "I need this to be humongous."
Yes.
So anyway, we had fun, and I didn't really know any of the rules for film scoring at the time.
So he gave you the autonomy to pretty much do.
Yeah, and then he'd come in and we'd laugh and go, "Oh yeah, that's fantastic. It kills the scene." Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But I had fun doing it.
Yeah, my favorite scene musically, and it all makes sense now that I know that you composed it, is when Eddie is standing in front of his television with the clouds.
Right. Yeah. We initially called it Marcus's Stormy Mood because his name in the Boomerang was Marcus. Yeah, okay. Marcus's Stormy Mood.
That's my favorite musical part.
Reggie moved that to the beginning of the film too.
That's right.
When you turn it on,
That's right.
That's the first thing you hear.
That's right. So yeah, I was like, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense now. Now hearing the bass heavy.
Yeah, because it's featured around the bass, centered around the bass. And then he would say, "Hey man, I love Duke Ellington. I love Burt Bacharach." And we'd spend time just listening to different things.
Yes.
So I digest everything he likes and then get to work.
Now, Marcus, is it true that you wrote The Butt?
Yep.
You wrote that?
Me and my songwriting partner, Mark Stevens, who's Shaka Khan's little brother. We had a group called Jamaica Boys.
Okay.
And so we had been writing music together, but Spike called me out of the blue. I didn't know him. And he said,
Spike Lee, ladies and gentlemen.
Excuse me, Spike Lee called.
I just wanted to clarify for the audience.
Is from the movie School Days, right, which is a Spike Lee movie, right?
So, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. And he called me and he said, "Listen, this is what I need. I need have a dance party, a pool party in the movie with a lot of, beautiful women with big derrieres, yeah.
Posteriors.
Yeah, posteriors. And I need the song to be called The Butt. And I need it to be the dance sensation across the nation. I want it to be go-go. I want you to produce it on a band called EU. Yeah. Because I just met them. I think they're fantastic.
Yes.
So that was my assignment.
Boy, did you nail it.
And so we we were like, okay, lyrically, because this is 90s or early 90s. Wait, The Butt?
No, it was like
87.
80s. It was 80s. Yeah, it was 80s. Yeah.
So you couldn't
high school when I came.
You couldn't get as explicit back then with the lyrics as you could now.
Yeah.
So we had to be like tricky with it. So, stuff like backfield in motion and stuff like that.
Yes.
But we had a good time. And then once we cut the track, with EU, Spike said, I'm sending the whole cast down to your studio. Okay. And so we had the whole cast. We played the song on the speakers and put mics up. And we just basically recorded the party. And then put the party on the record. Right? And they used to do that back in the day. Kool and the Gang used to do that. You just have a party.
Yes.
So every time you put the record on, it's an instant party.
Yes.
Even if it's just 3 people in the room.
Yes.
So we really had fun with that. And then we mixed it, but then CC, you remember CC Music Factory?
Yes, of course.
They did like the mix, the bomb mix on it.
Yeah.
And that
CC Music Factory? I haven't heard that. Wow.
Yeah.
Clavellis and Cole.
Clavellis and Cole, yeah. I think Cole's the one that passed away.
Yeah, one of them passed. Yeah,
Yes,
Cole, I
yes.
think, passed away. But they were fantastic.
They were awesome.
They dominated like dance music
100%.
for a long time.
We did a lot of shows with those guys.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
I think I just saw them on a bill with somebody. They still
The rapper still
the remaining member still performs.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that, again, it makes sense hearing the dome.
Yeah. So the butt.
Oh my God!
Like it's go-go, but like true go-go aficionados, they're like, "Yo, man, that's too fast."
It was too fast.
Because original go-go's
yeah, a little sexier. Yeah.
But Spike was like, man, I needed to appeal to the whole nation, the whole country. So I sped it up a little bit, and they were looking at me a little sideways.
Yeah,
but it still had that flavor.
Oh man, you killed that. You killed that, man. That was the fact that I found it out. Shout out to Ron Gilliard, who actually told me.
Yeah, Ron forgot, but he was in my studio the other day.
Yeah,
and I have framed the note that Spike sent me. Marcus, we have to meet about the butt, and then I have like the Billboard #1 and all that, all in.
Such a great
great
time in music and film and Black culture. Okay. Because this is when Spike was on his wave. And he couldn't miss. And he was just killing it. And alongside his films, there was a wave of just Black filmmakers and the music that matched it. So being a young kid, a Black kid, and being a musician, there was nothing more exciting than going to a movie theater and seeing people that looked like you, knowing you're going to hear some crazy music and have a good time with the whole experience. Like it was unlike any other time in Black history, culturally.
Well, in the 70s, they had those Blaxploitation movies.
Yes, that is true.
Which was cool, but they really appealed to a certain stereotype.
Yes.
And so, you would, like the Mac and Superfly.
Right? Yeah. And Shaft. And Shaft.
But we didn't care. People were just happy to see Black folks on the screen.
Yes.
But then, it was like he'd be a pimp or whatever he was. And then at the end, he'd give up his evil ways and go straight. Nobody remembered that part.
Right.
Nobody remembered. So this was the next generation.
That's it.
Where people like Spike, especially Spike, would say stuff that had a really, really positive message and an uplifting message.
And that was the cool thing about it. Like to actually see, I mean, it might seem very elementary to kids now, but to see young kids in college.
Yeah. Wow.
Like
I didn't even think about
you understand?
Just that.
Like just that. Just seeing studious young Black men and women in school learning, at a high level was very rare for kids like us. Because if you went to college, that either you was hella smart or you got some rich uncle or something like that that allowed you to go to school.
Yeah, so there were a lot of first generation college attendees back there. Like nobody else in their family had ever gone.
Yeah. So to college, see that, just to see that, and then to Boomerang, for example, to see executives, Black executives running a multi-million-dollar makeup conglomerate or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it almost blew your mind. It was because, again, it was around that era where Black folks were being viewed differently. We weren't pimps, hoes, and crooks. we were businessmen, with the Cosby Show.
Don't forget the Cosby
a doctor
Show.
and a lawyer
Exactly.
as a mother and father, and they lived in a beautiful brownstone in Brooklyn. Like it was like to see those images were extremely important because it then shaped guys like us, who then came out with bow ties and plaid shirts and shorts and baseball.
Y'all did wear bow ties, didn't you?
We did. Yes, we did. We wore bow ties, and part of it was on some
level, like
some Dwayne Wayne type of energy. Like, these guys were still cool, with the kind of geeky, quote unquote geeky type of look. So that's right up my alley.
That's right.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean. So
it was a special time.
It was a special time.
Spike and do you know how courageous and resilient you have to be to do what he did?
Yeah.
Somebody told me that like the lighting director or the director of photography would say, Spike, this is, something's off with the scene. Don't worry about it. People ain't never seen nothing like this. Okay.
Right.
Like that was the overarching mission.
Right.
Is to present something that nobody ever seen.
And he did that. Shout out to Spike Lee. Can't wait for.
Do you have a favorite Spike Lee film?
I do.
Which one's yours?
School Daze is my favorite.
Okay. Why?
Because again, it was music. It was like a musical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it was a musical.
It was a musical. So it made the music element part of it was cool. Again, seeing young black men with fly clothes, I thought it was fly, like the Letterman jackets with the shorts and the military boots.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And just seeing the fly chicks, like that was something that I dreamt of. Man, I can't wait to go to college and meet some fly, smart, little college girl. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Like it checked all the boxes for me as a young kid, fantasizing about how I wanted my life to be. So that's
so important, man.
It's so important. So School Daze, it provided that image. That's me. That like I literally looked up on a screen and said, yeah, that's what I want to do. So School Daze was one of them. Malcolm X is my second. And I would say, even though I was upset at what happened to Denzel, Mo Better Blues.
Oh, that's great. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah,
you have a top. Well, he gave us a top three. What's your top three?
So
because we got to give show love to Spike. He's incredible.
Yeah, the top one for me is Malcolm X.
Yeah,
so good.
Because everything came together. Denzel was incredible, and the story already is incredible, just as it exists as a story, as history, right? And Spike did a great job, man.
He did.
Denzel and Spike in the zoot suits, walking down the street.
Yes.
Waving their arms like they used to do.
Yes, Boston Red.
Yeah, Boston Red. That was beautiful. But man, Denzel in Mo Better.
Yeah, he killed it.
I'll put it this way. There used to be a music series here in LA called R&B Live. Do you remember R&B Live?
I used to go.
You used to go there.
They just reached out to us. They still do it. They sent us an email. They wanted to, I'll tell you about it off. But yeah.
Okay.
So R&B Live, for those who don't know, was an evening, maybe once a week or
on Sundays.
Once a month.
Sundays, yeah.
It was on Sundays.
And they would just have all these R&B artists who happened to be in LA
R&B and jazz.
Shaka Khan would come by. Brenda Russell came and sang Piano in the Dark, and so
Joe Sample.
Yeah, everybody came. It was really a beautiful event. Bill Hammond and Ramon Hervey, they put it together. So anyway, I'm backstage. I don't know if I was the musical director at the time, but Denzel walks in backstage and said, "What's up?" I said, "Man, you got your horn? You can sit in." And Denzel said, "Bruh, I don't play the trumpet. I was acting."
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait, you were acting?"
Yeah, he fooled me.
Because everything was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen movies where the musicians are actors and they got the wrong hand up top. You know what I mean?
You can tell they're faking.
And their embouchure all messed up, Denzel seemed like he put so much time. He hung out with Terrence Blanchard, who scored the film, I believe, but he's a ridiculously monstrous trumpet player.
Yeah.
And Denzel learned all the fingerings. His mouth was perfect.
Yes.
And he even did the stuff that trumpet players do when they're not playing.
He would do them.
I was like,
well, Denzel's the GOAT. You can argue with your mama. Denzel's the GOAT. It's no surprise.
I didn't even question the fact that he was a trumpet player. And he walked in backstage. I said, "Come on, man, we getting ready to play a blues or something."
He was like, "What?"
He said, "Man, you don't want to hear what comes out of that horn." I was like,
"That's amazing."
So in my opinion, that's probably the best non-musician actor pretending to be a musician.
That's crazy.
Hands down.
So you gave us 2 films, right? Or was that 3?
Yeah, Malcolm X, Mo Better.
Yeah, and then She's Gotta Have It, because that's the first time. That is the very first time we ever saw Spike and saw a movie like that.
Yeah.
Right? It was just...
Please, baby, please, baby, please.
Yeah. And that launched, Mars Blackman and all the Nike ads with Michael Jordan. So
yeah. Wow.
As a film that gets slept on that I really love, He Got Game. With
He's Got Game was dope.
Yeah. I just thought it was different.
Jesus.
Yes, Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yeah. No. It was a great film.
Exactly.
And definitely one of my favorites too. But the ones that just stand out to me, and you know what? I'm tripping. This got to be honorable mention is Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing, so good.
Yeah.
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing was
so we
amazing.
have to open it up till 4.
We opened to 4.
and put Do the Right Thing in there.
All right, now,
absolutely.
Now, real quick, what exactly is the Foundation UNESCO? Explain how it broadens the reach, specifically of a lot of things, but of music to places around the world. And your involvement.
UNESCO is, you imagine UNESCO as the cultural arm of the United Nations, right? Their job is to promote communication and exposure to different cultures, different people around the world.
It is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
Right. So they have science conventions. They have all sorts of cultural conventions where scientists from Europe and scientists from South America will get together and share information, because that's how knowledge grows, is by sharing. On the cultural side, on the music side, I did a tour with Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter, and we were celebrating the 20th anniversary of Miles having passed, right? It was a beautiful tour. At the end of the tour, Herbie said, "Stick around, because I'm going to get named as an artist for peace by UNESCO." So I did, and it was beautiful. It was in Paris, and it was just a beautiful event. And I met all the people from UNESCO. About a year later, I came to Paris to do my own show. I had a song called Gorée. And Gorée is an island off the coast of Senegal where they have, where a long time ago, they had slave houses. What they would do is they'd stockpile captive Africans in these slave houses. Men, women, children in separate rooms stacked on top of each other. And eventually they would put them on a ship and send them across the Atlantic to be sold as slaves, right? So I had done a show in Senegal and visited Gorée, and it was just like, you can imagine what you're feeling when you're sitting there going, these are my ancestors. They didn't know where they were going.
Those spirits are still there.
Yeah, they didn't know what the language they were hearing, where they're going, if they're ever coming back. So anyway, I wrote the piece, recorded it, played it all around the world, played it in Paris while the UNESCO people were there. And they were so moved. They said, "You've got to be an artist for peace, but not only that, you need to be our representative for our Slave Route Project, which is a project to bring awareness of what went down in the transatlantic slave trade, because, you'd be amazed how little people know about it. Even our own people, they don't know, for example, that slavery went to the Caribbean and South America before it ever got to the U.S. So you have to really kind of, without dragging everybody into the past, because it's really about where we're going, but make sure what happened.
It's important.
So that stuff can maybe make it clear the conditions in which we arose from. So rather than just go around making speeches, I mean, I spoke with the UN and did a couple of things like that, but I decided to dedicate the next album after I was named Aphrodisia, and I collaborated with musicians from each spot along the slave route. So I collaborated with some musicians from West Africa, North Africa too, from Trinidad, from Brazil, all the places, and then New Orleans, and then Detroit. So I just followed like the whole thing. So I had Papa was a Rolling Stone to represent Detroit, but I played with all these musicians who I still collaborate with now. A guy from Mali, from Burkina Faso, from Senegal.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, listen, I want to switch gears a little bit, have a little fun. Your top five favorite bass players of all time.
Top five. Stanley Clarke, Jaco Pastorius.
Sure.
Yes. Larry Graham.
Graham Central Station.
James Jamerson.
Classic.
Because he played on a lot of Motown stuff.
Yeah, he was Motown.
I thought he played on the Jackson 5 stuff, but people have been correcting me because it was the saxophone player from the Crusaders who doubled on bass.
Oh, how about that?
Wilton Felder,
I didn't know that.
Who played on a lot of, but the reason I thought it was Jamerson is because he did play on my favorite Jackson 5 bass song, which is called Darling Dear.
Okay.
And if you ever want to hear James Jamerson do his thing, check out Darling Dear.
Or What's Going On by this guy named Marvin.
Well, put What's Going On first.
Marvin,
Day,
I forget his last name.
Yeah. Put that first. But what's Marvin's name?
I forget his name. Marvin. He was a pretty good guy. He sang okay.
Yeah. What's Going On? Darling Dear. And I'm sure there's a couple that we can name, but he was incredible.
Okay, that's 4.
Okay.
One more.
And then I need 5.
You need one more.
I need Ron Carter and Paul Chambers.
Okay.
These are both upright players.
Okay.
Who were very important to me, in terms of me understanding what a bass should do in a more straight ahead jazz situation. So those are my guys. And then there's a million others.
Name me one of your most memorable gigs, because you performed with everybody. Like, what was one of those shows that stand out to you in your mind?
There's a lot of them. So let's see. When Miles came back out of retirement, I told you he was in retirement for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so he put the band together, and we did a couple of gigs in the States, in Boston and New York. And then we went to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles is as much as he's a legend here, he's twice, 3 times
100%,
in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And we played in a place where I had never played in a place where I couldn't see the end of the audience.
Holy shit.
There were so many people that I couldn't see where it ended, and
wow.
It was just a tremendous feeling.
Wow.
Almost like that with Live Aid. I played with Brian Ferry.
Okay.
In Live Aid, and that was it. I think it was at Wembley.
Now, did you play in Wembley or Philly? That was
Wembley.
That was okay.
Wembley. Exactly.
That was the original one, right?
Yeah, that was 85.
That was with Queen.
1985.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible to be there in that situation.
Wow.
Man, there's a million of them, but Luther, Never Too Much had just come out. House Is Not a Home was blowing the radio up, and Never Too Much. He had his first big gig in New York City at a place called the Savoy, which was, I don't think it's there anymore. And man, we had sound check about 2:00 in the afternoon, where you check all the instruments, make sure everything's working. And Luther said, okay, I'll see you all back here at 7 or whatever. I got 5 hours. Okay, I live in Jamaica, Queens, which is like a 30-minute train ride and maybe a bus ride for another 15 minutes, right? I got plenty of time. I'm going to go get the black bass because they're all wearing black in the background. I'm going to have my bass match.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm on my way towards home, and apparently a building collapsed over the train station, and the train stopped. And I was there for like 4 hours.
Oh, no.
Just on the train in the middle of stations,
Oh, no.
Tripping. So finally, they let the train go to the next station. I jumped out. I got on a payphone and called my dad. I said, Dad, I got to get back to New York. I'm going to miss Luther's gig. Can you put my black bass in the car and get me there? Because the trains aren't moving. They shut the trains down. So my dad got the bass, and he came and met me and dropped me off. And it was horribly late, man. And when I'm walking to the Savoy, like he dropped me a block off, I'm walking there and I hear them playing the last song.
Oh,
right?
no.
And I'm like, oh, man. So I walk in. What had happened was that in the audience was a bass player named Anthony Jackson. And if I had to name a sixth name on bass, it would be Anthony Jackson.
And he covered the whole...
Money, Money, Money.
Dude,
that's Anthony Jackson.
Oh, my gosh.
He just happened
to be in the crowd.
We were all studio musicians, so we always carried our instruments on our back, right? Because you never know. We would just go from studio to studio. And Nat Adderley, Luther's music director, saw Nat. Anthony, get up here now, right? Put the music in front of Anthony, and Anthony sight read the gig on the spot.
Wow.
And I'm standing there, man, backstage, hearing like the last 5 notes going.
So what happened?
So Luther comes off, and I'm like his little brother at this point, you know. I'm 20, maybe 21, right? And I go, man, a building collapsed. You know, he said, well, yeah, you shouldn't have, you should never leave to go that far after the sound check. But we got a second show tonight. Man, that second set, I was playing for Jesus.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Boom, 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 boom. Extra slide. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm doing the gigolo. The gigolo dance.
Hell yeah.
But man, the reason that sticks in my head, man, is that that's a grounds for never using somebody again.
Yeah.
But Luther, he, like I said, he was like my big brother, and he was like, you learn your lesson. I know you learn your lesson, right? And there's so many times when Luther could have made a left or a right, but he was so faithful to his really inner circle.
Yeah.
That he was so proud of us.
We were blessed to go on tour with Luther back in 97, 98.
Oh damn.
And how was it?
It was, let me tell you something. I miss you. He was one of the sweetest men, one of the nicest people, one of the greatest people to work with and tour with. Mm-hmm. He talked to us. Mm-hmm. He gave us our props. Mm-hmm. I watched him almost every night sound exactly the same, clean, consistent, perfect every night. There was one night he came off stage after he killed that shit, and he was like, "Yeah, I wasn't that good." I said, "Luther, shut the fuck up.
Ain't nobody trying to hear you."
I was like, "I'm not trying to hear that, bro." I'm not trying to hear that, bro.
Out of pure talent, is he probably the purest, truest singer we've ever heard?
Amazing. I get upset
like
because
just pure, it's just effortless for him.
People don't talk about him enough.
But is he that? Is he the best we've ever had? Like effortless.
He's definitely in my top 5.
Top 5, absolutely. He put out albums in the 70s. He had a group called Luther. It was 2 guys and 3 ladies. And you hear him sing there, and you hear the sound, you hear the tone, but then he began his studio career.
Yeah.
Okay? He's on mic every day, all day long, singing background for Chic and Bette Midler and Change and all these people. And he became a master of every tone in his throat, not just the big tones, right? So you hear Luther sing, you hear all this head voice, mixed voice, right? Some people sing falsetto. Yeah. Some people sing with their chest.
Yes.
There's one in between called the mixer. He called it the mixed voice. That's magical. And he was a master of it. It's difficult to master.
Yeah.
But he was a master of his mixed voice. He used all the colors, man. He told a story where he was doing a commercial for some food. He's singing a jingle. Uh-huh. I don't know if it was burgers or something, but the client said, "I need you to do something that makes it sound like spicy and great," And he goes, "They're good." He sang that lick that everybody knows. Right. And they went nuts. And he said, "I promised myself I was never going to do that for anybody else until I started making my own records."
And that became one of his signature.
That became his thing, yeah.
Rest in peace, Luther Vandross. He was an amazing human being, as well as one of the greatest voices the world has been blessed to listen to.
Watch the documentary. It's called Never Too Much. It came out this year.
Yeah, I saw some of it. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing.
It came out recently? Or
it came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have to check it out.
Last question. What's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, my favorite restaurant is called Avocha Sante.
Avocha Sante, where is it?
It's in Santa Monica. It's a health food restaurant.
Okay.
So I'm that dude.
Sounds I'm with you. That's why you look so great. Okay, so
Right.
So you go to Avocha Sante, right?
Mm-hmm.
You sit at your favorite table, you order your favorite dish, right?
Right.
So you look when you have an eyesight of the entryway.
Mm-hmm.
In walks in the younger version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to know if you could give him some advice, some jewels that will get him to where you are right now. He sits down across from you and grabs some of your food, and he asks you, what can you tell him? What would you
don't
say?
grab my damn food.
Okay. All right, well, that's one. But outside of that,
Yeah, sure.
what would the older Marcus Miller say and give advice to the younger Marcus Miller?
I'd say if you're creative, you have heroes, right? You're going to have your heroes. You're going to have the people that you emulate, that you do your best to sound like or be like. When you look in the mirror, you're not going to see anything special, right? And you're just going to keep trying to aspire to these greats that you admire, right? At some point, hopefully, you will discover that although it's not that special to you, what you see in the mirror, that person is as valuable as all of your heroes. I know a lot of people who don't trust their own instincts. They don't trust their own gift. I tell them that Quincy Jones told me that first hour in bed, when you're half asleep, you're not awake, but you're not asleep totally, is two people on your shoulder. One is creative ideas. Man, we should do this, or we should write this song with this melody, or we should do blah, blah, blah. This person is like, that'll never work. This guy wakes up an hour before this guy. This guy wakes up an hour later than this guy. So when this guy's talking to you in that 1 hour, whatever comes to you, that's gold. That's gold. You treat that like that's your most pure self. That's your most, honor this guy. And after your shower, this guy wakes up and he's going to put all sorts of dirt in the game. Oh, that'll never work. And blah, 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 that's too much trouble. And, you're not worthy.
That's real.
You're not worthy
That's
of
real.
that, right? And so you have to, he said, if a melody comes to you in the middle of the night, get your butt up, write it down, sing it, whatever, because
right.
this guy's gonna mess it up.
Real. That is real.
At a certain point, this guy, so I remember one time, man, I wrote it down on music paper in my head, which is what I normally do, because I can visually see if I see the notes come in a certain way, I say, oh, I remember the melody now, right? But I couldn't find it, couldn't find it. And it took me 3 days to mathematically figure out, because I see the three notes, but I don't remember, it took me 3 days, but I wasn't going to let it go. And I learned my lesson. And so if it comes, I'm on it, So the real thing is you have to be able to see the specialness of yourself. You got to trust your instincts. You got to trust your impulses. Now, you might have to shift because you have to be honest with yourself too. I know a lot of people who are music executives, a lot of people who are music engineers who said to themselves, you know what? I'm going to keep my love. I'm going to keep my kind of impulsive love of music, but maybe I'm going to shift to the left a little bit so I can continue to do what I do. So being honest with yourself, but more importantly, value your ideas, value yourself. I was trying to play like Jocko and Stanley.
Sure.
And Larry. No, I was trying to play like Larry, Stanley, and Jocko, put it in that order, right? And in the clubs all night, playing my fusion bass. During the day, I'm playing on music commercials, right? I'm playing on Julian Lennon's record. I'm playing on just sessions, Carly Simon, whatever. And I'd play what was necessary for the music on those records. But at night, I'm going to be the next guy, right? And I said to somebody, man, I'm still trying to find my style, my unique style. He said, that thing you just played on what's his name's record is your style. I knew it was you from 3 Notes.
Right.
He said, well, I didn't mean that. That's just, I wasn't thinking about that. Hello.
Right. That's you. That's your most honest you.
That's the most honest you. And you have to own that. And once I keyed into it, then I said, okay, let me take that and develop it. So now you hear me and you go, okay, yeah, that's him, you know.
Hey, y'all, and that was On That Note. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, here's a couple more videos for you to check out. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.